there we are. Alrighties. Squids join. What was the password again?
4445.
4445. Yep. Triple 45 should be in soon. There we are. Alrighties. Welcome back, Oceanink Squiddies, for this time a Division 2 team between Surf and Turf and Venomous Squids. This is going to be the week 3 rounds, and I am joined by Goizord. Hello, Goizord. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Awesome to hear. Alrighties. So for Surf and Turf, they have Critical, Lobster, Bob Ghost, Kit, Pac-Man Power Ghost, that's new to me, and Box of Chocks. While Venomous Squids remain to have the same, I believe. I don't actually know if Cat Mitzi was there before, or Ryder.
My cat's been here since since the forming, I believe. Yeah.
Ah, see. Okay. So that's a very familiar team to me, most of them being in Victoria as well. And that's good to see.
I've watched numerous scrims of Surf and Turf, and I've been somewhat involved with Venomous Squids over the months now. So this is also a somewhat familiar matchup for me.
Yeah, I'm keen to really see how this pays off. Anyways, we'll dive into the maps that we have here. So we have 1 to 9, we have Splat Zones at Gobi Arena. Following that, Tower Controller and Gobi Games. Clan Bits at Ariana Mall. Rainmaker at Schellendorf Institute. Splat Zones at New Albacore Hotel. Tower Control at Wahoo World. Warrior Towers Clan Blitz. Rainmaker at Kelp Dome, and last will be Skipper Pavilion. So hopefully we might actually see a best of 9 this time, going back and forth between these two teams.
We've seen Venomous Squids has been dragging out match results 2 game 9s. I think a couple times so far. I can double check Tip 2 results. That's not meant to be a drag against them, by the way. It's always entertaining to see a game 9.
Yes, this indeed. It's always good to see it really drag out that long because it just shows, these two teams can put up a fight. We'll be able to see every bit of what they can do.
Now we are just waiting on, I believe, the 4th member for Surf and Turf, and then we'll be starting. I guess while we're waiting here, we can talk about Splat Zone's Gobi. Now, I know that I don't think that Venomous Squid's current lineup in this match. I think Morwile would be the only person who can even run an anchor weapon, which means that Venomous Squids is going to be in a situation where if Surf and Turf can get a lockout on them, they might be in a bit of a struggle here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, depending on what sort of weapons they use here too, whether it be the long range or if Amanda and Laloon will be using short range instead, yeah, that could actually be the turnaround did. And I believe I might see a Dynamo. That would be my call for this one. And for Bob, I believe he will be running it down pretty much with a shooter, or at least something close to that. And
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt that he wouldn't be running a Neo Splash just because it's always a great zones weapon, and
yeah,
he does seem quite confident with it.
definitely.
I'm not sure about if we're going to see a Dynamo, honestly, but I might just be blanking on Surf and Turf's team comps right now.
That's my guess for Venomous Squids to be rolling out a Dynamo, but then again, we'll start to see.
I just got informed that Surf and Turf's 4th member is just going through news right now, so it shouldn't be too much longer until the match actually starts.
I actually received that earlier. It was a bit annoying because we are trying to all set up as well, and having Maria and Pearl tell us, oh boy.
Yeah, tell me more about the Waffles, please. I
Yeah.
don't have a match to go to.
it's all fine. Now everyone's gonna be battling on who's pancakes and who's waffles this time around.
I might go Team Pancake for reasons, but who knows? We'll have to see. I haven't even played the last four Splatfests, so
Ah,
it'll be a bit of a return to form for me.
yeah. I mean, I missed out on a, a bit as well too, and I only played the last one. I think that the friends and family one or something like that, and then that was
Yeah, it would
it.
have been that.
Mm.
Alright, here we go, finally. Now, obviously, we're not going straight into the match. We've still got to wait for everyone to be ready on their kits.
Mm.
Well, I guess we were waiting on kit, and they were going to be getting ready for that as well. Oops.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, I still am not sure if we're going to actually see Dynamo here. Just from my understanding of what this current Venomous Squids lineup is, I don't think any of them would really run that. But we can always be wrong.
It is true. I mean, Wacko is not in this time, and it's just instead Prince and Maui, so we might actually see just a bit more like shooters kind of a thing happening, or mid-range weapons, really.
And that works perfectly fine on Gobi. It's just that if you don't have really a solid anchor, a lot of the time you're not really going to be able to you're going to have a much harder time breaking back into mid. And
Mm.
especially if we see Prince or Katmisi on any kind of brush weapon that can just kind of camp the ledge, it'll definitely be it would definitely be a hard time for Squids if they had such a situation like that.
Alright, most indeed. So a bit of a think here. We're in the last 25 seconds, but teams are just deciding what they really want to run here.
It can take a bit of time. Gobi is one of those drop down maps, so you need to kind of be prepared for it.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, Gobi is not something you'd really see every time. So having that, just teams have to think it through. Uh, have we been practicing this map in rank or in league as well? Whether or not, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, and we do see a pro coming out from Venomous Squids, so they aren't running a full frontline composition. Otherwise, we are seeing a Blobber coming out from Lobster, as well as Kit on the Kensadulis here running opening Gambit.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. They really want to take this really far at the start. You can
We
see
do
that.
see Laloon goes down to Lobster, who is also kind of trying to put pressure on Morwile. Doesn't seem to succeed on that front though. But now we do see that pretty much Surfin Turf has immediately gotten into pretty much a cornered situation now, and Venomous Squids is really going to have to fight here to try and reverse this now.
Mm. We are seeing now Bob on the tower pose really, just camping it out a little. Amanda now coming in, seeing if no, the bowler actually will deny that, especially now going to deny as well Amanda's advance. But she
Oh,
is
Bob
still
does go
there.
down to the. I believe that was the Bulu explosion. Bubbles do come out and a splashdown. Zone still hasn't been captured though. Now it's only Lobster and Kid up, and I don't think they can really apply enough turf pressure to keep this under control anymore. But that took a very long time to reach this point.
Hmm. Bubbles now available as well, shooting in the mid, just to hold as much longer as Laloon can.
Now we do see Serpenturf has armor ready. We've got Fizzy and Blob Spam just trying to get I believe that was Box on the Kensa does go down, so that's a lack of Fizzies now. We're seeing that Serpenturf doesn't really have their organization or their specials to really properly break in. One thing you'll note is that ballers on Gobi zones, they can't really get a fully good capture of the zone because of the barricade in the middle there. Um, And now we do finally see Surfin Turf has got the turf control back, but those bubbles are pretty much immediately trying to bring it back, and Surfin Turf only had 2 members in mid, so they weren't really able to contest it.
Hmm. With 1 point being behind still, well, Venomous Squids will have to keep trying for another push here. Do you see now Bubbles now approaching as well, and also the bowler too.
Bubbles do come out now. It does look like Lobster is trying to just kind of deter them from being able to approach it with that blobber.
Think some
We're
more
seeing
will come in
Morwell come
too.
from the right here, but they did get 2v1. Zone! The Buller gets a double on Zone, and they do eventually go down just because Undercover is pretty annoying to 1v1. But now Kid's pretty much left up as the only one in mid now.
Hmm. While Prince is able to pick up the Brella, there is still Kid in the middle who's just running ram and managed to pick up the one splat too. And will be falling
Yeah,
down
but I
most
would say it
likely.
was a bit of an unfortunate situation there. Morwell just kind of barely went past the barricade as the Buller exploded and just got caught in the 100 damage radius.
Tomorrow will be able to escape a bit of a camp pressure, but still falling to Lobster, who was camping from the start originally.
Yeah, they just went right up and immediately got the 4 lobby, or unless they were weak already. It was a bit of an interesting one.
Hmm.
Now we're seeing that pretty much Laloon on the Explosher and Katmizi on the Tetris are the only 2 people up for Venomous Squids for a while there. As the lead is slowly dropping down, Baller comes in, and so does the Bubbles now. It's looking like a fairly healthy chance of an overtake, but the Baller doesn't accomplish anything, and now the Bulls don't come in. But Cat does get a double with the splashdown, and this double bubble comp that Venomous Squids has got going on means that even if all of their specials don't necessarily work, they still have enough backup options to make it so the zone will be captured.
Mm-mm. Unfortunate for Prince, who could not catch out Lobster beforehand. We'll have to find some regrouping here, just on the tower once again. And those bubbles are really putting a mean pressure against, really,
Oh,
Surfin
Box
Turf.
does get a splashdown that also takes out the bubbles, however, and now Katmizi's left all alone in the mid. It looks like Venomous Squids' dreams of getting the lead here have fallen apart once again now, with another whopping 37 penalty. Considering Mobile also went down, which meant one of their bubble options is gone, it seems like, and Laloon goes down. Both of their bubbles are gone. Now, Amanda just has to go in with a Buller. They can't contest zone. Do take out Lobster, but they're down straight away now.
Hmm.
And as the penalty is slowly wearing off, now we're seeing Venomous Squids has to just try and play this really aggressive play. Morwile goes down to Bolghost. Cat comes in with the dualies, gets a splashdown, does contest an instant caps, just barely before a chance of a knockout.
Indeed, and you see Kid just holding the zone as long as he can, really. Just ring around the rosy in the middle.
Yeah, they are the only one up in mid now, as Bob Ghost did choose to jump away. So this is going to be Venomous Squids' chance to try and cap this zone now and overtake the lead. They've got quite a hefty score to bring back. But what they do have is, I would say they have better special synergy to try and let that happen. Splashdown does come in, destroys the Buller, Rains come out, blobber pressure, Kit comes in, and that's the zone retaken. You saw that Venomous Squids had this immense pressure with their bubbles that they could use to try and lay down and keep the zone under control. But their main issue is that in that final engagement there, instead of using the bubbles as a prediction of the fight, they used it as a reaction to the fight, and the bubbles took too long to pop. So Surfin Turf just had this free reign over the zone, really. And it did mean that game one went to Surfin Turf there in almost a knockout, but not quite.
Yeah, there was a lot of times where Venomous Squid would just rush in one by one, and they really couldn't do anything really much. They just get picked off, and their special synergy was really good with the bubbles, but it just failed later on in the game. And Surfing could just keep that hold on, and that's pretty good. I mean, if they can just keep picking off and holding and with those specials too, yeah, it's pretty much good news for Surfing.
Neither team really fed at all. Looking over at the map, you saw a couple of times where people like walked into Bob, who was the undercover, and that's a DC. But you did see a couple of times where like people would walk into Bob, but a lot of the time, engagements were kind of like I would say people didn't really fight each other until specials came onto the board. Um, so I wouldn't really say that Venomous Squids was kind of walking in one by one a lot there. What you saw instead is that both teams had had coordination with the weapons that meant once they were able to set up to take control of the zone, the other team couldn't do much about it. And it was just about who goes down in those key moments and how long leads and how long they're able to take down the zone for.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
I would say realistically, Venomous Squids could have had that first game as well. It was just they didn't have like what you saw out of Surf and Turf is that the Blobber Lobber laid down so much turf that it almost acted as like a special that's always on for them, while Venomous Squids had to constantly rely on specials. I would say that was the bigger downfall there is that Surf and Turf kind of had an on switch that was always on, while Venomous Squids weren't really in that situation.
Mm. Yeah, very good explanation indeed. That's definitely the case for that game. And it did look pretty bright for a Venomous Squids, but then just at the end, really that last minute really just turned around. Really, they couldn't push any further than the original when they were down by that 1 second too, and Surfin just really held their ground really that whole entire time. So really good place to them.
Yeah, you saw Lobster when they had good. Sorry, I've got something in my throat, so that might happen a lot. But you saw Lobster was in the opening fight. Once everything was going their way, they were pushing up into the right push. I can't think of it, but the sneak area. And they were just using the blobber to constantly put down turf and pressure on the enemy. But once their numbers were down, they went on the plat and just kind of constantly rained on the zone. Obviously, it's not Splatoons anymore, so we aren't going to see that come out again. But what we might see is I wouldn't be surprised if Capmezi or Prince is going to a brush here, just because you can do a lot of dumb stuff on the lifts here with a brush. Other than that, once again, I wouldn't be surprised if we see. Honestly, Bogos might just stick with Cancer Undercover here again. It's a fairly good weapon for just riding tower and laying down a lot of support and turf for your teammates to work with.
Mm.
And I can't really speak directly to the other players. I'm pretty sure Laloon and Amanda both generally play shooters, but that's
Yeah,
about the most I can
definitely.
say on them.
Mm. Maybe we might see something just a little bit different. Maybe we might see JR and NZAP, something around there. I know that for sure Amanda or Lewin would play one of them, but the rest will have to
Yeah, I think
be relying
it's.
on Prince and Ryder's choice as well.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, well, I didn't even notice that Morwile had subbed out for Ryder now.
Mm,
So
mm,
yeah, definitely a couple of things they're going to change here. And also just looking at the map, it's Tower Control Anchovy is kind of this one where like once you get mid control, once you've set up on their plat, and once you've gotten past first checkpoint, it's kind of a snowball effect from there, where the enemy does have the opportunity to kind of stop you from doing that, but their opportunities become more and more limited as the tower pushes further and further in. So if any team is able to do that kind of setup, I wouldn't be surprised to see if the score goes down to the tens.
most definitely did. We did see the previous game anyway. There was a lot of in control coming from both teams, so maybe that might be the key for this one as well by using the left and right side for assassinations, if possible.
Now we are seeing some changes here. Amanda, you did see the ends out from Laloon, and we do
Yeah,
see
yeah.
Amanda on a splatter shot, but it's a cancer splatter shot. So they've already fired off a tenement volley, barely 15 seconds into the match. Doesn't quite manage to do anything, but we do see that the cancer machine from Box there did go down in the opening engagement, and Catmeasy does get a double there on Bob Ghost and Kit. Gets Lobster as well, and now we're seeing this situation straight away where Catmeasy's kind of pushed in super aggressively
Hmm.
with the ball now even. I don't think they can get any more follow up, but we're seeing now that Venomous Squids has almost got nobody's on the tower. I was going to say they
Yeah,
had kind of a free reign to do a setup here, but
yeah, they
instead
did.
you've got Amanda going for this super flank here, and then Ryder and Laloon both jump on, and now Kid took out Laloon and was just able to sit on the tower. Eventually, they are able to sort themselves out, and they're kind of just left on their own now against two armored people.
Yeah,
Uh, um,
definitely. Mm.
but it was definitely a bit of a wasted opportunity there from Venomous Squids, where they had the opportunity to pass first checkpoint, which is the most brutal checkpoint here, and instead they kind of flundered it.
Yeah,
And we're
Ryder really
seeing
gave that up from before, indeed. And Kate was just like, all right, no one's on the tower. I'll take it for free. No problem. It's here.
I mean, it was more like what he saw is Laloon went not Ryder went up with
Yeah, with
with
the
the jet
Stingray.
because they wanted to get a
Yeah.
Stingray,
Mm.
and then Laloon also jumped up to follow up with support of some kind, but it meant the tower was all alone. And we're
Yeah.
seeing Cat Music here taking our box and just trying to keep the tower under control here, and does get flanked, however, wasn't able to react to Kit in time, so it does look like we're seeing us in a bit of a mid brawl now. Surf and Turf does have armor up. Amanda's a bit pincered. So is Laloon. They go down. Capmeezy's jumped in immediately into a 3v1. Does take out one, but does go down in the process.
Yeah.
And now we do see that Ryder goes for this point blank Stingray, which you would assume is punishable, but the angle that the Stingray has taken means that
Wow.
they couldn't
Wow.
climb up the wall to stop it.
Yeah.
So that was rather unfortunate. We do see Kit does take out the Loon and keep the tower under control, and they do get a 1 point lead, but neither team has been able to touch the check.
Well, it's looking pretty tight for
Um,
Amanda. Well, she does manage to slip past the missiles, indeed. And here, another set of missiles not actually targeting, no. Just the torpedoes, actually.
Now we're seeing Lobster here tried to do a bit of a setup on their plat there, but the wall ran out right as the enemy started coming in, and they did get punished for that. What we're seeing, Kamizi is trying to keep their lift under control. They saw the Kensa machine there. Armor does come out, wasn't able to get the cancel, but we're seeing now
The Splashdown not being able to get the
essentially
P4 as well. Yeah, it's just a very stalemate in
all
the middle. A lot of pressure from both ends, including Stingray and
we do
Bomber
see
too.
that Venomous Squids went two down, and now the rider on the jet here is kind of left all alone on front of checkpoint. Lobster is just trying to get a bunch of lobs up there to try and stop it. Rain comes out as well. Surfing Turf has got this really aggressive setup on the enemy plat now between the Kensa machine, the Blob Lobber, and to a certain extent Kit. And Surfing Turf do manage to pass first checkpoint. Bob Ghost almost died to missiles there, but they do stay alive. Venomous Squids is still another couple of members down now. We're seeing Ryder and Amanda are pretty much the only ones up, and they're trying to pressure tower. Amanda goes down, and now Bob Ghost is the only one left on tower. I think that's going to be an end of a push here, but with only a minute left, and with a brutal first checkpoint to push, we're going to have to see some serious coordination coming out from Venomous Squids here to be able to let that happen.
Hmm. They should avoid getting picked off here and definitely just go for the semi-wipes and the wipes as well. And here
And
we
Cat
are
and Amanda
starting
get a
off.
bit of a flank, but then it looks like Ryder also went down to Lobster, who went for a bit of a flank. And that's another wipe there. Well, the first even, I think, on Venomous Squids. So we're seeing now Box and Kit and Lobster, they're all going for this forward push again, and Bob Ghost is just sitting on tower with an undercover, like I thought would happen. Splashdown does get cancelled, but Amanda also goes down. Cat Music's left is the only one up now. They go down as well. With only 15 seconds left, it's looking like it's game 2 to Surf and Turf now, unless something changes dramatically and very fast.
I don't think that will be possible. We are now lessering 3 checks. Splashdown as well.
Splashdown
Could
comes
happen
down,
between the
Kit
two.
stays
Not
on
that bad.
tower. That's it.
The Brella too,
It
as well for extra protection.
Yeah, we saw it was basically a slugfest in mid for about 3 minutes there, where every team always had like one or two people down and they couldn't commit to a push. But once Surf and Turf got the numbers down, they immediately tried setting up in the plat, and you saw the strategy work, where they had their members up forward of the tower, making an aggressive push, and then the person who's sitting on tower trying to get past this brutal first checkpoint, they had pretty much free protection, where they did not get touched for most of it. I think and eventually, obviously, it took two pushes, but in the meanwhile, Venomous Squids wasn't able to get a single one in return.
Hmm. Pretty unfortunate. I mean, even in the end, Venomous Squids were trying a really sort of a, all right, well, we don't have anything, we don't have any lead, we don't have any advantage. So, let's just go in and see from there. And Laloon did go in from before, trying to pick off Kit from the tower, while Venomous Servitive was still trying to go for the pass on
What
checkpoint
you
one.
saw what you saw right before the wipe is that Venomous Squids did try and take back mid control, but they did it in such a spread out manner that they all eventually went down.
Yeah,
Ryder went down because they were doing a Stingray and Blobber just like threw some and Lobster threw some blobs up there, and then Amanda went down sitting near their first near Surfin Turf's first checkpoint, and I don't recall, but I think Cap Easy went down on the lift or something, and they were all so spread out on the map that they couldn't really support each other. Um, so once they did start losing their firefights, it just meant straight back to another push for Surf and Turf after only about like what 20 or 30 seconds from the last one.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and instead of Venomous Squids being able to put on the gas, they went full reverse instead. And yeah, we definitely saw some opportunities there for Venomous Squids, but all of them kind of came down to I wouldn't say it was a lack of awareness, but maybe just bad positioning, I guess would be the better term for it then, where they were trying to do certain actions or perform certain stuff or try and take down people, but they were always in a bad position for it. Um, and if there's any map where bad positioning really matters, it's definitely Clan Blitz on Arowana, because if you're set up, if you just got your people in the wrong area, you're trying to make a push and you haven't kept your flame gun under control, then they could jump in and get like a giant lead there just because you weren't keeping your closed in check. Um, so I feel like Capmeasy here has probably instant picked onto the Octobrush here because they certainly love using it on clams. Um,
yeah, yeah.
and I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we see Lobster and Blobber again. They're doing pretty good with it, and this is a nice flat map where, well, not a flat map, but like a narrow map would be the better term, where the Blobber's able to get a lot of shots down that people can't avoid sometimes. So
Yeah, I mean, Lobster and Kitten just Bob, just the three of them together, they're putting a lot of pressure, and when they get the advantage of the wipe, and let's say from before that tower just going past checkpoint one, Kid and Lobster were just like, all right, now we can just stall with the long range, put pressure on with some ink, and then they can't really advance, and that forces like members like Laloon from Venomous Squids to go from the back. But then if they get picked off from the back, that's just gonna set Venomous Squids even more further behind because they have all the members spread out, like you said, and they're just gonna have to fall one by, they're just falling one by one really. So they'll have to sort of work more together and focus on just one thing rather than being spread out here.
and for what it's worth, Clan Blitz is the only mode where like kills aren't going to get you the objective right.
Mm.
So um, even if Venomous Squids are getting the numbers down, as long as they aren't getting the numbers down while not having mid control, they will still be able to keep up a solid defense. It's only once they lose mid control and Surf and Turf is able to collect up 2, 3 super clams that things start to become seriously threatening for them.
Yeah,
Now,
most definitely.
for changes here, we're seeing Ryder's gone for a vanilla Splattershot Pro, and we're seeing more wild here on the Bullpoint Devour, which means that they're running double rain, which is
Yeah.
rather intriguing.
I mean, do you see the bowlers as well from east side from the cancer spot lilies, really?
Ryder gets pushed up a little too close into mid and goes down, and now we're seeing Cat Measy goes down to Lobster on the Blobber, immediately going straight into their closed, takes out both beacons, and now they're just set up in their closed here. It does look like Box went down for a super aggressive push, but the bubble's out. They made this super aggressive push, but they don't have the clams. Lobster goes down to Cat Measy from above, and they eventually get wiped.
Yeah, there was a lot of aggressive push there with nothing really happening, and
Yeah, they
no
should have.
turtles
They
were
should have
used
just
too.
collected some more clams.
Yeah,
The clams were used, but they just didn't have clams. They should have waited a little bit. We are seeing Lobster here, just throwing a wall up just on the immediate push to the basket, and it just immediately stops the baller. And Morwild also goes down there, perhaps just a little too pushed forward with the ball point. Eventually, kind of got pincered here. Now, I think Capmese is the only one who's really up in mid, and we're seeing this double slosher comp here from Surfin Turf is really, really punishing Cat here because normally a brush operates best when it's on high ground, and then these two sloshers are able to just completely hurt Capmese while they're on the high ground.
yeah. The Slosher and the Bobbler are really putting good work together, and they're just keeping pressure every single time.
Kamisi does go down, but it gets a double, but does go down. And now we're seeing here, Surf and Turf has 2 up. Box is trying to get a couple claims just to extend the push. They do get an extra 3 in, or 2, sorry, focused on combat afterwards. And it went all the way down to 53, which is certainly fairly respectable here. Especially because we're seeing this issue where I feel Venomous Squids right now, their team comp kind of puts them in a real tough bind because Ryder on the Splattershot Pro doesn't have enough range, or like it doesn't have enough range to really be able to punish the Bloblobber, who is able to just kind of end rain just rain endless blobs down onto the mid control here. Um, you combine that with Morwile, who on the bull point is able to lay down turf, but I feel they probably should be setting up on closed or the other side of the map. You know, that way they have more reach.
Yeah,
Because for the time being, they're kind of set up in a position where they can't really do anything except turf right now.
they kind of just need to push out from here instead of just being stuck near their spawn point, really. Well, Mao is doing a pretty good job on just inking. He's just getting countered by both the Slosher and the Bobbler too. Because he
Lobber
kind
does
of came
get
from
one down,
behind.
but they
Yeah,
yeah, they might have been on a hide in their shield to try and turn that one around, but they didn't have it sorted out in time. And we see Box here on the Kenzer undercover just kind of went on a little excursion trip through the enemy base there. Didn't get anything done. Did get a splat at the end of it. But we're seeing that Surfin Turf here is pretty content to. They're content to kind of hold mid without necessarily wasting resources on a push. But they do go two down while I was trying to explain that one. Um, and now Venomous Squids does have two clams up.
yeah,
Won't be enough to get lead directly, but it is very, very close. But right now you're seeing this big issue where they kind of both got them up here. We do
yeah.
see that Amanda does go down, just too much firepower for them to solo push it through. Meanwhile, Bob Ghost here on the Kenza Junior is just laying down constant torpedo spam and turf pressure. That means Venomous Squids can't realistically try and push ahead of it while they're still up.
That's definitely. They're finding a lot of trouble just getting in here in the
Oh,
first place, I
Morwell
think.
tries to go for a sneak push there, but Box on the Kenta machine does take them down. Amanda goes down as well. Box goes for a nice bit of a rampage there, just trying to keep defense on. And we see Capnisi just tried to use 10 missiles as kind of last ditch effort there, but the Bloblobber came up and just immediately took them out in the meanwhile. Bob Ghost does take out Ryder, so now their clam holder is down. And Bob Ghost is on a bit of a flank here, manages to take out Cat Measy. And it looks like Morwell does go. I think they went down to the torpedo there. Bit of an unfortunate timing there. With only 24 seconds left, we really need to see something happen here. We've got Amanda on a buller, which they seem to constantly be trying to use to get control here. We see Bob Ghost is trying to keep closed under control. Ryder goes down in a 3v1. And the entirety of Venomous Squids is just kind of set up in their base with nothing else. Overtime's about to start, and they've got 20 seconds to get a very big push in. A buller comes out, and now Amanda's stuck in a pretty awkward position here.
Yeah,
They had to
Bowler by
exploit that.
Bowler here, just exploding on top of each other. While
Yeah,
Venomous
it did
Squids
mean
might have a chance
they
here.
had to waste their special to push in. Amanda's going for a flank now, but we're seeing this double slosher team is just able to say no. Amanda has to try and throw in a bit of a desperation here, and that's the game. Once again, you've got this situation where Surf and Turf is able to lay down constant pressure. You saw that Venomous Squids wasn't able to really keep mid control for anything. Meanwhile, you had Lobster and Box here with these two sloshes just kind of reigning supreme, and it just it completely shut the game down. I feel.
Yeah, I mean, Venomous Squids were having a lot of trouble just trying to get in. There was no in control for the advantage of them. And when Amanda would go in alone, there's just no support for her, and she just gets wrecked instantly by the members of Surf and Turf, really. They have all three of them defending there, and they're like, nah, we're not gonna let you pass, really. So I think perhaps instead of using the Inkstorm just to cover or counter and paint around in the mid, could have been at least helpful to use it on Amanda instead, help her get across to send them back, so they'll have to fix the positioning because it's a very tight squeeze for Surf and Surf when they're defending in the basket, and then just pretty
Mm.
much go for there really. Excellent choices to use like flanks and one or two, but it's just wasn't keeping up at all for them at all. They were having a bit of issues just going in and out there. While Surf and Turf, they could just do whatever and they could set up here and there. They can go in 1v1 and they just kept painting on and on. Constant pressure from the bubbler and the sloshing as well. And that's
Now we
what's
are moving on to Rainmaker Schellendorf, where I feel Lobster is once again just going to stick on the Blobber here, just because it's a wonderful weapon just to try and keep the roof control, because enemies have limited space there, while a Blobber can just kind of get 4 shots on you instantly.
Yeah, definitely.
Meanwhile, we don't really. I feel Morwell's Venomous Squid's best shot at an anchor for this situation here with a ballpoint or something similar to it, and it's it'll be fine. It's really just going to depend on I honestly couldn't tell you which team is going to be able to get great mid control to make good pushes here, because Schellendorf is a really hard one to judge. Like the quality of your shooters and the weapons and all that kind of doesn't matter sometimes. It's more about like how are you organizing yourself regardless of your weapons to try and make the push you want to make.
Dude. Maybe for Shelendorf, this is a bit of a tight one as well with the map going up and down either way. And I feel maybe I've seen Venomous Squids actually play this quite well a couple of times. So maybe we might see Venomous Squid actually be able to come out on top this time, taking all the mistakes that they've taken from the 3 games previously and then just adapt from there. So let's see if they can able to do it. If not.
Oh, we do see double Brella coming out from Surfin here. No more Blobber as well, but we still are seeing the Kensa machine. Um, very, very interesting weapon comes here. Also, what we're seeing is Venomous Squids completely ditching the concept of an anchor here, went full out aggression. Lilina immediately goes down to Box, and so does Morwell. Morwell also goes down to someone else. Bob Ghost has immediately picked up the Rainmaker. Ryder goes down. Amanda's left the only one up. Amanda goes down. Now the respawn waves are coming back in. The whole team's set up here, and
And
Morwell gets
wow,
a quad.
big wipe here from both ends too.
You saw Surf and Turf here went for the. Realistically, when they had their numbers down, they probably could have went for the left push there, which would have put them in a situation where they couldn't have gotten wiped by a Luna shot. But instead, they opted for going straight down the middle, which I always find is like it's the route you go if you don't really have a better setup in mind. But you can definitely try and take roof and go right. It's a pretty valid strategy.
Yeah,
And
somehow game booked
Morwell
here.
does
Ooh,
almost got the lead there because of that
yeah.
baller explosion there, but didn't quite work out. And you're seeing now Venomous Squids here, perhaps undeservedly, has complete roof control right now. Ryder just kind of jumps up from behind and immediately takes out the Rainmaker. And now Boghost is trying to take them out, but wasn't able to. Armor comes out, and now Ryder gets another one. Rainmaker did get popped, but I don't know if Surf and Tough should have done that. We do see Box here to be able to stop the Rainmaker, but otherwise they might have just been able to take it for a bit of a run there.
Most definitely. I mean, we saw before, Surf really just took it aggressive from the start because they had the chance to. While Venomous Squids are now taking just the left side, really. They want to push up, get up the ramp, and just avoid any combat.
I feel like if I think we are seeing it now. They are going to try and go for a roof push instead, because Surf Tuff doesn't have their numbers up in this situation. Meanwhile, between Ryder and Amanda, you've got two people who are both enjoying having roof control and having a good amount of it. Morwild does get forced to
Yeah.
retreat down below because of the torpedo, and now they kind of pushed ahead of their team and ended up making it into another slugfest. Loon and Bobghost do take a trade here, and now Lobghost does get a bit of pressure taken down from Amanda and Ryder, but meanwhile, Box is now taking this opportunity to set up on roof control now with the sloshing machine, and I don't think Amanda really had an opportunity to answer that one.
Well, while Bob does good. No, Bob's actually still up. The Slosher did go down. The doors are down as well. And Ryder just in squid form, just sneaking across, trying not to get spotted. And managing to
They
pick
do
up
take
Lobster
out
here.
Lobster, yes.
Yeah.
But I don't think they have the opportunity to close that distance on the Rainmaker. And we do see Kit now just sharking over the... Kit looking over the top of the place they were sharking. Ryder does go up and finally get the Rainmaker now, but immediately dies to Lobster on the Umbrella. So, Splat rather. So immediately now, what we're seeing so far with only 2 minutes left in the match is that Venomous Squids has a demanding
Oh,
like
this is a very aggressive
hold
push
on the
here.
map.
Yeah.
Venomous Squids has a demanding hold on the roof and the map, but they aren't using it to accomplish the objective really. Like you always see that they have the control up when the push doesn't matter, but then they don't when they grab the Rainmaker, and they do these basically solo pushes, almost desperation pushes, even though it's only a 10-point difference. And Surf and Turf realistically didn't get a good push in so far. It's definitely in the power for Venomous Squids to be able to take this one. It's just a matter that they need to kind of organize themselves and make a good push here. Maybe use a couple specials as well.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. The one before was really good for Venomous Squids with the Ink Storm and Loon just going in straight for it, but I just don't think
Now the
it was
armor
enough
does
really.
come, but we're seeing that. Oh, yeah,
Yeah, well, we will
they
follow
they
him here.
ordered. What we saw is that Venomous Squids had another chance for a push here, but immediately Bob Ghost activated the armor, and even though Venomous Squids, Surf and Turf kind of had these three members up, they were all sitting on the right push, and they were realistically in a situation where they could have been stopped. They instead went for free. Morewile's taking a bit of a flank on the Rainmaker, but had to walk down a narrow path. Um, Laloon also goes down now. Ryder's only one up. They are forced to take the rail here, and Lobster, instead of rushing straight away,
Just
kind of
get,
stalls out
yeah,
for another shot.
yeah, Lobster just
They
beating
do
his
get
time
a
there.
Yeah, they do get a good lead here, but if Venomous Squids can just kind of make it up the steps or something in in this overtime here, it might be the difference between a win and a loss here. We do see Box goes down, but so does Laloon. Bob Ghost and Lobster are both kind of situated around the like right turfable area,
Yeah,
but Surf and Turf doesn't really have any members up now. Only Box is
yeah,
up.
no one is
Box,
actually right on the right
Bucks,
side here. And Mo who just jumped
Box
straight for
was
the
unable
lead.
to Box was unable to get the splat. I think they were getting body blocked by the
Hmm,
rest of Venomous Squids members. So we were able to see that what we saw is that Surf and Turf had a couple members trading, but what they had right is Lobster and Bob Ghost were both sitting on the right side of their base, and then Venomous Squids went through the left, and so they were completely out of position, and it meant they had no way of responding to this overtime. So I would say like if they were situated
hmm.
around the rail in that kind of area, that probably wouldn't have been able to happen. But just because half of Surf and Turf was just out of position by I would say it wasn't really by chance. It was more just by lack of communication about where venomous squids are. You
Yeah,
saw that they were just able to completely go through. It was basically a 4v1. Box could not take out the Rainmaker, and lead happened. So it was definitely a pretty big back and forth. I knew that venomous squids could get that match, and I'm glad to see that they were eventually able to organize a right push there and succeed in it.
most definitely. I mean, well, Siftoff maybe probably would have fought. Maybe they might just actually come down the middle, and that's where three of our members are at the moment, stationed right there. Whilst Bob and sorry, Lobster Kit just by themselves on the top left, saying, "All right, guys, they're coming left instead," and all four of them are right there as well, and they're just able to push up just straight from that, really. So that's really good, well played by Venomous Squids right there in the ending.
Now we're going onwards to Splatzone's Albacore. Definitely an interesting one.
Yeah,
The constant flatness means that I would not be surprised if we see Ryder go to the custom jet again just for the Stingrays, if they're the only Stingray user on Venomous Squids currently. Um, Meanwhile, I feel Kit on the Kensa Dualies is going to have a fun time here just because that kid is really good at just kind of keeping control of the zone and its surrounding area, I find. Otherwise, other things is I can't really predict about the rest of Venomous Squids currently. Meanwhile, I would not be surprised to see if Bob Ghost is sticking with the Kent's undercover again, just because it's really a universal weapon pick. There's very little situations where that weapon can't really apply itself in. So if they're feeling confident in it, not much reason to really switch it off.
that's definitely. It's going to be a bit of a thing from Venomous Squids. Um, I mean, if Surfituf want to bring out the Bobbler or the custom culture, like you said, or even the Slosher too, I mean, it just means that, alright, shooters haven't been working the first 3 games, maybe we might change it up to something else. Maybe a bit more defensive, perhaps even armor as well. or even just bubbles too, because that's definitely what they were running beforehand. So we'll see from here. There's going to be the instead of the dualies and the cancer from Surf and
And
Turf.
we aren't seeing a stingray from Venomous Squids at all. In fact, there's no stingrays here at all.
No, it's just
Which a bit of a nice change pace.
yeah, it's very balanced with the Ink Storm, the Inkjet, as well the bubbles and the armor too.
Lobster does go down to Laloon here, but eventually Seven Turf is able to kind of take them down. But in the meanwhile, Venomous Squids was able to basically get a free opening cap there, just because Seven Turf kind of had their attention divided here.
Yeah, well, two of
Um,
our members were down, so most definitely we want to take the advantage there.
Bubbles go down and immediately pop on Ryder. We do see Control comes, and now Laloon kind of pressures into a 4v1. Bubbles are coming back from Amanda now. They do contest to the zone, but they weren't able to really get any picks out of it. Morewile also goes down, and it's an effective wipe for Venomous Squids now, where they can start to set up now. We're seeing... Oh, I should have mentioned that
Ink
Botghost has
is
switched to the Junior.
Ink is coming
But
down
we are
now as
seeing
well. Ink
this
Storm.
constant torpedo spam coming out from the Junior. They are in a bit of a tight position here. Was forced to use bubbles, but they do get the quick pop and take out Amanda and shred the armor on Ryder as well. And it does look like Ryder is a bit deep position there. Wasn't able to close up the spacing well enough, rather, and does go down. And now Surfin Turf is just kind of extending their lead here. It's now the score's almost down to 20. Box does go down, but it doesn't look like this. Looks like the shield was able to provide immense support. Lobster goes down because of the bubble pop. With 9 seconds left, Venomous Squids finally gets control again. So that's going to be the end of Surf and Turf's lead, but what lead it was. Finally a wipe because of the rain, I believe.
Yeah.
And it looks like hopefully now we're going to see a similar situation here where Venomous Squids is able to really put the pressure on Surf and Turf and just kind of stop them from even approaching the zone.
Definitely a bit of a breather room here for Venomous Squid, so they'll definitely use this time to catch up while picking up as well.
Loon does take out Box, and they were kind of forcing Bobghost to just take another route. And now we're seeing from Surfing Turf, they're all kind of stuck around their perch pretty much. Bobbles comes out from their base. Wasted special opportunity there from Bobghost. And Baller comes in from Kit. Explodes right on the zone.
Cannonball
But
was
we're
not coming
seeing
out
now...
too. In the middle,
Cannibals, a panic splashdown. Surfing Turf do get the control of the zone, and Ryder goes down to the double slosher set once again. And it does look like Venomous Squids were very much trying to keep Surfing Turf out of that zone. But once again, we're seeing this situation where Bubbles are pretty much there. They're running Bubbles and Rain as their only real specials to keep control of the zone, and they both can't really react fast enough. So if the enemy is just playing too aggressively, you might not be able to really make them work.
We're just seeing storms in the opposite directions here, with Bubbles now popping up here from Amanda's side. While two of the members of Surf Turf are down, they're going to use this definitely count down that 52 and just get on from there while the 2 minutes still remain on time. So it's a lot of time.
Ryder tried to go for a bit of a flank there, but Box immediately took them out. Now Box is going for a flank of their own, has a splashdown at the ready, tries to bait them out, but wasn't able to successfully do so. Do manage to get out Amanda and Morewile as well, so that did end up working, and now it's control again for Surf and Turf, who at this point are once again in a pretty good position here with all of the Turf and mid control completely set up. Ryder does get a double as I'm saying that though, and now it's pretty much up to Box to just try and keep the zone under control. Gets immediately hit by I think that was a 50 damage Inkjet after a couple swipes.
Yeah, and Kit will be forced to retreat back here.
Yeah, so we're seeing this as quite a back and forth match here. Like, Surf and Turf, after they got their initial score all the way down to 9, it's pretty much just been constant back and forth. Now, Box does go down to Laloon, and now it looks like, Laloon takes out Lobster as well. But the zone, it's looking like the bubbles are coming out. Bobghost is the only one up, though. They are kind of left alone in mid. They threw out their bubbles, but weren't able to take out anyone. And it looks like now, unless something's going to change very fast, Venomous Squids are probably going to be able to get lead here. Lob's just kind of pushed in very aggressively and immediately gets taken up by Ryder. Lead does happen, and now Laloon in this a bit of a spawn camp here takes out Box, and that was it. So we saw one thing that Venomous Squids was able to do that that I feel Surf and Turf wasn't, is that they took Surf and Turf's bridge and they went up and went to the base camp with it. We never saw that coming out of Surf and Turf, I feel, and because of it, they were always contesting the fights within mid itself. While once Venomous Squids did get their lead, they pushed straight up for the camp, and Surf and Turf weren't able to really take their numbers out, regroup, re-get their specials up. They weren't able to do it in time.
Yeah. I mean, we did see Venomous Squids now take this actually very more slowly instead, and they really fought this through instead. For the opposite and for Surf and Turf, they're kind of like, oh, in the moment, we have the zone, and we're just gonna keep trying to get some picks here and there. But unfortunately, you can see that's just happening the other way around, where Ryder and Laloon were picking off through the other side of each other as well, and really having that control on the other side of Surf and Turf's end was really good for Venomous Squids, where they could just keep constantly pressuring having Laloon there. All right, we'll get one, and then we'll stay here and see if anyone else comes, and then while my team just keeps the zone, and then pretty much that from there, they're able to take the lead and just go on from there.
Mm. Now we are going over to TC Wahoo, which is a bit of an interesting one. If either team is able to really push on the gas and start going for like a really aggressive push, it could be over in a second. Otherwise, this could be a stalled out slugfest in mid for 5 minutes, and we're just going to see how this one turns out.
Yeah, this is not this is a map that I never really got to back when I was doing my 7 p.m. match, so I'm really keen to see how this pays off in a different division.
Hmm. Now we do see that Surf and Turf is pretty confident with their weapon lineup. It seems pretty much all went to the instant picks here. And it looks like only Bob Goes to Morwell are left to decide here. I can't really speak on stuff here personally. I feel like a brush is probably going to be a decent idea, but it might also not be. Likewise for a lot of the other picks here.
Maybe Ryder will be able to keep the other brush that he was using before, because I was working really well, fantastically back in the previous game.
It just the Octobrush is really good at trying to deal with the base, like attacking and defending. But if you're trying to do anything around first checkpoint or the mid itself, I feel the brush can falter there if you're
Yeah,
in a bad position. So
yeah.
that's why I'm not really sure if they'd end up picking it.
Yeah, especially if just hanging around the tower is what Ryder was intentionally going to do for this game. So actually a bit of a think here for Surf and Turf. While Venomous Squids are like, now we're warmed up, we're ready to go in, and we're gonna lock in as soon as we can because we know what we're gonna do, and we just want to jump back straight into the action. And this is giving Surf and Turf a bit of a sweaty moment here. They're gonna have to think things through again, think what they're doing, and take it a bit slow. Where that's what Venomous Squids have been doing this time around.
Okay, we see a charger coming out. Meanwhile, Ryder's gone over to the bull point now. A lot of interesting switch ups here.
Yeah, we are seeing comebacks from both teams and as well as main power up too. Two actually comebacks for Surf and Turf here. So they definitely want to keep the pressure on with abilities powered up. But here we are. We do see the
Ops goes
semi wipe
down to
here.
this. Yeah, they all of Surf and Turf had a bit of an awkward rollout, it seems, and all of them went down. Now Lobster's left is the only one up. Ryder's keeping some pressure on. Ten missiles are out. Suction bombs down. They go down to one of those.
This is looking like
No,
carnage for Venomous Squids here. Having a bite each,
yeah, we
one on
see.
one.
What we're seeing is they aren't really pushing up aggressively, but they're using Kit spam instead and other such things to try and keep control under. Stingray comes out, takes out Kit. Lobster's kind of forced in this really aggressive position now, and Ryder's just kind of using the insane mobility of the ballpoint to just kind of duke out their aim. And we're seeing now
Bots coming
Ryder's
from
still in
behind.
tower. Amanda's left up still. Now Kit's still up. Goes down as well. Now we're
Yeah,
seeing all the way down to final checkpoint now with an effective wipe coming out of Surf and Turf now. And that's it.
and
A
that's just
straight
that.
100-0
Wow.
push there. That was what happens when you have a bad rollout. You immediately saw Surf and Turf go 3 down, and
Hmm.
then it just didn't stop.
I mean, you just saw Venomous Squids. They just kept launching subs like no tomorrow and just picking off Surf and Turf. They just kept going in it one by one. And every time they get knocked out, it's just more stalling. And they can't really get in there. Well, no control as well, and then you can just keep throwing subs for Venomous Squids. So beautiful 100 to the 0 there, Venomous Squids. I really expected a bit
And
more, but that was
I
that.
mean,
Hmm.
that's what I was saying, right? If a
Yeah,
team kind of puts on the gas and starts to really push in, it goes real fast because it's like once you have numbers down, first checkpoint's fairly easy, but you need to be having some kind of way of suppressing the enemy from overlooking the tower.
Yeah.
But the rest of the checkpoints are fairly free because the enemy always has to either drop down or sit up on a perch somewhere to look at the tower. So what you saw out of Venomous Squids is just spamming subs at the set locations the enemies would be and using their specials. You saw Missiles come out to take out the last member for the first checkpoint. Stingray came out to take out a couple more members once they were pushing through the second checkpoint. You saw Armor was up during a couple of different points in that match. All of this kind of culminated to a situation where, like, thanks for being loud. That Surfin Turf were kind of just unable to really break it. And now we're going over to an even more interesting map, Clamblets on Moray.
Hmm.
Um, I personally like this one, but it's also a lot of chaos.
Yeah, I mean that
And
was also from before in the previous game too. A lot of carnage just happening, and I really feel that Venomous Squids are done warming up, and they're really serious about each of their games from now on. We had enough of that from the start where they were just going 0-3, and now they're like, all right, we turned it around now. Now it's 3-3, and they're saying hello, Surf Turf. Now we're equal, and we feel warmed up and ready to go. Really, whereas Surf
mm,
Turf, oh, they're saying, oh no. Oh no, guys, this can't be happening, and we have to take a bit of a breather here. Let's talk a bit more. Let's talk strategies. Let's talk weapons, and go from there pretty much. And for Moray Towers, it might be a bit of a breather here for Surf and Turf. And I feel maybe if Bob can get around the side here, or at least Lobster, they should be able to set up pretty much here. Where I
I
feel like,
feel honestly it's going to be the opposite story, where a lot of the time,
yeah,
I find that the flatter a mid has been for Surf and Turf, the better their
mm,
results have been. You look at Gobi, you look at Anchovy, you look
mm,
at Arowana even, all of them have had these really concise mids. Moray
yeah,
Tower's mid is nothing like that. And what we've seen is on maps opposite like that to from Wahoo or even to a certain extent Albacore, where these mids are kind of in a much more unorthodox position. Um, uh, Venomous Squids have been able to constantly try and set up and exploit that. And now we are seeing a pretty radical shift here. We've got Catmeasy back in with the Octobrush Naval now, and we're seeing Lobster on the Brella now, completely foregoing the Blobber, it seems.
yeah. We do see opening game again for Kit, so looking to just start off really strong here.
Other than that, it looks like Surf Turf have all kind of went for an aggressive position now. Two of them are overlooking the snipe, but now Morwell coming in with the Luna here, just trying to kind of lay down this pressure to stop them from pushing up there. Um, and
Missiles
you're
not
seeing
coming up here, and putting
it's a
pressure on
fairly
Venomous Squids.
indecisive turf control so far. Morwell does come up, but it looks like Box is immediately able to just try and slosh them, and they are forced to contest with Lobster on the Brella, which was not a fun engagement.
Mm,
Um, it looks like Lobster here, a completely free basket, takes the opportunity for a solo push, but it's just that with no real follow up now.
yeah.
Unless Kit is able to get a sneaky toss in, and they are.
Yeah, one,
That's
two,
three
one, two,
claims in.
three. Yeah.
It's only three, however. But what we are seeing now is Lobster is able to set back up in their snipe before the push is even over now. So although Morwile and all that are set up here, they are Lobster. The
Will be
missed
on
throw.
foot.
Never mind. The
Yeah,
miss the
actually,
missed throw,
just
and then
missing
and then
that.
they will go down.
Yeah.
The armor's up, but it's effectively VS doesn't have an opportunity anymore. We are seeing Bob Ghost here trading with a loon, and now Kamisi is just kind of trying to go
Yeah.
for a solo push.
Yeah.
Never mind, they
Actually,
jumped out to one of their
mm,
beacons. But another push coming in from Kit now. But once again, you're seeing that the Surf and Turf here is effectively going for these solo pushes, and then in post they get a couple claims in as they're dying. It's not a great strategy, but so far it's gotten the score all the way down to 56.
yeah. I mean, Prince did have a chance from before when he was just running along and he got 10, but he decided just to jump back instead. So I'm not sure really what the call was there, but here we are, the pass off,
They
pass off.
no, the goal. I believe the goal was just to get a super claim up,
Yeah,
and it did work, I guess.
yeah,
We do see that Kamizi here is going for a pickup. Does pick up the super clam, but against the sloshing machine, it was not going to last for long. And once again, you can see that the turf control is rather decisively in Surf and Turf's favor. Bull does despawn as Morwell goes for a hopeless push to try and save it, I suppose. And we're seeing this situation. I feel like I've said it a couple times already, where Surfing and Turf has all the mid control, but they also have a lot of blind spots. Kamisi's jumped and placed a beacon down on the enemy basket. If they don't notice it, this could be super bad for. Oh, but the clam. They dropped the clam. Does Morwell have the ability to pick it up and jump in? This will be lead if Morwell. They don't pick it up. They've got a baller at the ready, but they're the only one up, and they get one clam in, two clams in, barely a lead. But any push now from Surf and Turf will be able to overtake this one.
Yeah. So good play by Venomous Squids here. Managed to pick up the lead here, both 2 points ahead, and let's see, 24 clams for Surf and Turf, so with bubbles available too, now launching here, straight out into their basket here. And if Luna doesn't
But
move,
between the brush and the Luna, we're seeing a situation where a ball does come in, never mind. 3 down on Venomous Squids. Now it's a 1v1 between Lobster and the Loon. Lobster gets a little too greedy with the clam throws and does go down, but that is a somewhat confident lead, especially because a single clam won't be able to overtake it compared to what Surf and Turf was able to do.
yeah, well played to Bob Ghost, managing to find a blind spot just in between the 4 members of Venomous Squids there, and just getting it in as well. It's really excellent play. Oh, we see from the other side here, May's now setting up here. Now, I don't think...
Morwell
No,
gets a double.
no. Wow.
And forces Box to waste a splashdown. Jump does come in, but it's a little early. Cat misses the throw because of it. And now we're seeing another situation where Ryder does end up not being able to pick it up. Never mind. And Laloon was kind of left waiting for a jump that never really was possible. Now with only 40 seconds left, Venomous Squids are definitely in a position where they can get this overtake, but they really need Box and Bob Ghost to just try to leave the general sneak snipe area, because they're really wreaking havoc trying to keep their pushes under control. They have left it. Morwell has gone for a very long flank here, taking the high ground. Kit does lose out the trade. Morwell is overlooking the basket. Laloon gets the jump in. Cat's got another one. That's a lead.
And Prince will be able to get one too, from the railing itself.
Morwell gets a double with the baller jump in surprise, and now with 8 seconds left, Katmizi's still got another couple clams left. They're just using it to kind of keep the push under control. And now in the end control, they left a clam for the overtime, threw it in, stopped the overtime. A very, very smart play there. What we saw was that Bob Ghost and Box were both overlooking the snipe, but then they dropped down into mid. And what that meant is that Katmizi and Morwell were both able to jump up from the snipe. Katmizi won the duel against Kit, and then Morwell was overlooking the high ground. In the meanwhile of this confusion, Laloon is able to get a ball in. Cat's able to build up another ball. And then from that point, Morwell jumps in with the baller, and complete chaos ensues. It was a very smart play that Venomous Squids was able to do that was kind of initiated from Surf and Turf's lack of awareness, because you saw multiple times that Venomous Squids were blown up from the snipe. And every single time it happened, it was because Surf and Turf did not leave someone up on the snipe.
Definitely there.
Now, we are moving on to Rainmaker Kelp Dome. I believe this is game 8 now.
Yeah, I believe
yes.
so, yeah.
Now, for anyone who hasn't seen the Kelp Dome changes, it's nothing exciting for Rainmaker. So it won't really fundamentally change how this one's going to be played. But we are hopefully going to be able to see who's in lead right now. I can't really keep track of scores.
Venomous Squid is in lead. They're 4-3 at the moment.
Okay, so it's match point for Venomous Squids now. Surf and Turf is really going to have to hope they don't get that Venomous Squids doesn't get a 20-second knockout, because it's still very much possible in Kelp Dome here. And
I mean, from before, Surf and Turf had a lot of control in that previous game, and they're able to find a bit of a sneak here and there from before, with Bob managing to slip through for the members of Venomous Squids getting that one in. But then just then itself at the end, a lot of counterplay there, and a lot of high ground action. Like I mentioned before, but for Surf and Turf they were going to use a bit of high ground or either go left. Well, instead it was the opposite, where Venomous Squids will go right instead, with Ryder at the back. Sorry, not Ryder in the back, Prince in the back, and then they're just going ham. All 3 of them in the middle too, picking up the splats one by one.
It
Mm.
wasn't really a tale of either team having absolute dominance there, but it was that Venomous Squids was very crafty and very sneaky in their basket breakings. And meanwhile, you saw from Surf and Turf, a lot of the time their pushes were basically a solo push with a couple clams tossed in.
Yeah.
So it was more a case where I feel that Venomous Squids was just more aware of how to play a clan blitz match properly, while Surf and Turf didn't have that coordination. Now, on this match point for Venomous Squids, we're seeing Luna comes out once again, Kensa Luna. Meanwhile, Lobster's gone back to the Blobber. So Surf and Turf here is running double Blobber once again. All of Surf and Turf here, they didn't get the pop actually. Cat goes down. Bob Ghost has gone on a flank, takes out Amanda, and now Morwild's left alone in mid as Laloon's just kind of painting for nothing. Does take out Kit in the meanwhile, but effectively the opening engagement went completely wrong there for Surf and Turf. Lobster is trying to go for a bit of a is trying to go for a right push, but Capmeasy was just right behind them and said no. Box wasn't able to really keep that under keep the enemy's I can't think of that call out, but they weren't able to keep it under control. Now Bob Ghost is left as the only one up and doesn't go down. They get a double instead. It's effectively a 1v1 scenario in mid now. Cat's kind of sitting in mid now, and it looks like Box does take out Laloon, but I don't think that they're able to get it. They tried getting a splashdown there to keep Roof under control, but Hammer comes out, goes down immediately. And it looks like both teams here have been in this frantic situation where they're just trying to go for the pop. They're trying to get the push in, but they always don't account for one player up, and it takes out the Rainmaker.
Yeah, every
Now,
time one of the team would just go for it, the other one would come in straight in. And that was just counter by cow on the bubble, really.
Now we're seeing Morwell on the left push here, just trying to keep it under control. Does take out the Rainmaker. Box is kind of pushed up pretty aggressively, gets taken out by Amanda and Laloon. And once again, we're in a situation where it's almost 2 minutes into the match, and the scoreline currently is one person making right push more than the other person. Now we do see a bit of a setup here for Venomous Squids, but they go 1 down, 2 down Rainmaker, and now Laloon's left the only one up. It's definitely a good score, but if Surf and Turf is able to organize themselves from this point now, where they're taking a a right push, it might be devastating. Capmeasy's gone on the grates. I don't know if the enemy, if Surf and Turf saw it in time. Bob Ghost does try and get a frantic shot out, does stay alive, and this main issue now is Amanda does take out the Rainmaker, but Morwell also goes down, and now Surf and Turf is in this position where they're basically just going to have to find a way to get get Venomous Squid's numbers, make a push. But Surf and Turf is constantly losing members, and Kit's basically got to stall out the Rainmaker.
Yeah, Lobster was able just to body block the hit for Kit, and Kit was able just to still be there. While Bob now, here we are, the support coming in now. We're trying really hard for this right side here.
They're just trying to stall. They've only got 30 seconds left on the timer against double Rain now, which would instantly kill. Rainmaker, that Luna tries to come up and stop it. They do not go down. Armor comes out, gets another double, does go down. But at this point, with only 20 seconds left on the Rainmaker clock, finally that stall ends.
Yeah.
What a frantic match it's been. Lobster now is just trying to kind of get turf control, trying to keep the right push dreams alive now. And what Venomous Squids has is everyone is kind of pushed up in mid. Hammer does go down, does take out Box.
Picks up the one here.
And they've got the hammer
And two,
still.
wow! It's still going, actually.
They had the hammer still because you can duck into and can kind of keep it preserved for a while. So I think that Kid there didn't realize that, and Capmeasy was able to get a sneaky one there.
Really, really patient plays there, indeed. We are seeing a bit of a hug.
Morwell here tried to set up for another left push, it looks like, but did go down. And now Amanda does win out the box trade, and Bob Ghost is left as the only one up in mid. With only a minute left now, Surf and Turf has yet to really make a proper push now. They kind of just went up the left push once and didn't make anything out of it. We're seeing Box here is kind of overlooking both members. They're kind of attempting to kind of get them out of the way, but the stamp comes out, does go down. Amanda's left up, goes down because of the fizzy or something, but Morewile's gone on the flank. I don't think Lobster was able to recognize it or deal with it. They do get out of the way, though. Loon's pretty much left as the only one who can really stop this. But Lobster opted for a shot on the wall instead of a shot to run away. Now, we're seeing Catmeasy here is just overlooking the Rainmaker. They pick it up, but into their own death. 5 points away from lead. Box goes down. Catmeasy is the only one left up. A splashdown away from zone. They go down. Surfin
this is
does take the
actually
lead. They
Ooh,
almost get the knockout.
stopped on
20
12.
seconds left. With 20 seconds left now, Venomous Squids has to get another push of their own, and they have to basically touch the podium to get lead now. This is a very, very tense overtime that's going to happen now. Morewile is going for the left push, but Lobster shuts it down.
Really rushed there at the end. And that will be that. No ball pop.
What you saw was because Morewile was so rushed, Lobster got the 4 shots out and immediately took out the Rainmaker unless it was someone else. And because of that, Venomous Squids wasn't able to get to the pop, which means now we're on to Game 9 on Splat Zone Skipper. We reached Game 9.
I said this before. If this would reach Game 9, I'll be really happy about this. And we have actually. These are some really tight games happening right now.
Well, I'm going to have to press my vocal cords after this, that's for certain. We do see that Zones on the Skipper. This is going to be a very interesting one because it's going to be about which team holds upper mid more to be able to stop new pushes from coming in, right? And I feel that Venomous Squids might have a lead on this one just because they've run in with they've subbed out all of their ranged options right now pretty much, and they're going to probably go in with a full melee approach. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see some more slosher action coming out from Lobster and Box here. But it's really going to be interesting to see how this shapes up now because everything's on the line now.
There was definitely. I guess this would be definitely having control of just the ramp area as well as the left side of the zone as well would be very helpful indeed. And I believe Venomous Squids will take this sort of the right side of it as well, having control of that ramp, and go from there pretty much. And we'll see if Surfin wants to play that game too. Maybe they just want to go all in on the zone, just straight in the middle there. But I think it will happen anyways for both teams. I mean, Splash Zone's on Skipper. There's no way you wouldn't take the ramp and have a bit of a duke there, try to get control of that.
Now, meanwhile, it looks like Surfin is very indecisive on what their weapon lineup is going to be. Lobster finally does get a bit of an idea, but it looks like they're still pretty indecisive. Hopefully this doesn't come back to bite them now.
Yeah, 15 seconds remaining, so they should definitely just go all in, pick whatever, and just try your best.
Honestly, I would love to see a Booyah Bomb here because this has always been the Booyah Bomb map to throw a bomb on, I feel. And with its new buffed status, it could be really nasty if anyone gets caught out in it. But chances are we're probably not going to see it here unless Ryder goes with it or something because they did bring out the Splattershot Pro earlier in the Clan Blitz Albacore match, or the Albacore, the Arowana one. We aren't seeing it. Instead, we've got a rather dually heavy comp coming out from Venomous Squids, and we are seeing Double Blobber come out once again. Double Slosher does take out both of the dualies. Not dualie, Brush and dualie. Now, Laloon goes down, and now Amanda's left up as the only one up in Venomous Squids for the opening engagement here. They are getting pressured by Bob Ghost and Kit. They both go down. That's I should mention, Surfin here is running 2 burst bombs.
Yeah, that's very much true indeed. Let's have a bit of a look. We've seen the wall. Yeah, we are actually seeing that happen as well.
Riders drop down into the inkjet, but they immediately are getting pressured. They don't get taken out, surprisingly. In fact, nobody dies. That was very interesting to watch. We do see Amanda come in with the baller, but immediately gets taken down by bomb rushes.
Yeah, she's getting cancelled out here.
Laloon's activated armor, but they're kind of left alone. Prince is coming in, but it looks like Bob Ghost here doesn't win the duel here. But the turf is still going down. Lobster's only one up, but now Laloon is also the only one up. Lobster does get taken down, and now it's 30. Surfin Turf finally got the score down to 30, while Venomous Squids is finally able to start making the push of their own. They're immediately trying to take down turf, trying to keep up turf control and push it up. But Ryder kind of just tries to juke out two sloshes, and it's not going to happen as a brush. Prince Kamisi comes in with the splashdown, but isn't able to really do anything except back away. Bomb Rush comes in, Blobber comes in, Rain comes in. All the Venomous Squids is really pushed up rather heavily on the zone itself. Box on the sloshing machine is gone for a flank, takes out Laloon. Turf control is in their favor now. Kamisi's forced to run away. Amanda is kind of using the baller as a threatening tool.
Oh, and that counts as the splashdown.
Yeah, if you splash down too late as they're already
Yeah.
detonating, it's a free cancel.
Definitely.
But we are seeing here that Surfin Turf was able to enact a penalty, but that was it. Ryder comes in, does take out Bob Ghost, and now Box is kind of left alone up in all the way down the shrine now. Jumps
Forced
out.
to jump back.
Lobster is going for a very sneaky play, but they aren't able to take out anyone with it. And I don't think they're going to last much longer now between the Inkjet and the Splashdown. We are seeing now the penalty's gone. Bob Ghost has a special ready, but they're launching it from so far away that they can't even act on mid yet, and the Luna's just able to freely approach on them. Armor's up once again. And we're seeing now the lead was overtaken. But Surfin Turf now has free reign on the upper garden, on the upper mid, and they're able to try and push from it. But they aren't getting the turf control yet. Ryder finally goes down, and there's the control. Now, Surfin Turf has a 50 penalty to get through just to be able to get lead back now. With 2 minutes left, Laloon pushes in really hard, gets kit, but does go down. And now we're seeing both duelies here are just kind of overlooking both the drop downs onto their respective areas. Lobster is just trying to contest upper mid, but there's 3 people coming out of there now. Amanda does take them out and then goes down. Now Bob Ghost is left alone. They've almost got a bomb rush ready, but they go down at 98. Now Box is left as the only one up, and they also go down.
Right able. Actually, just evading, get the double splat here.
Yeah. What you saw is because neither of them really had a bomb they could use to camp the jump, they both just had to kind of nervously try and hit it, and they failed to do so, so it ended up being a double. Now, Box wins this engagement against Amanda, and now they're pushing in really aggressively, just trying to get the control back. Bomb Rush comes out. One goes down, Rains come out, they're all forced in. Box goes for a bit of a late splashdown that does get cancelled because of it. But zone control does happen now. Now we see Ryder is
Right
kind of behind Lobster and Kid.
Looking to get the splat here.
Gets one of them, gets
both of them before
and now
falling
Amanda
down.
gets this free control. With only a minute left now, both of them pretty much have the same penalty, and Surfin Turf just has to get this control. Box wastes the splashdown, but doesn't really get anyone out of it. A baller gets wasted as well, but I don't know if
didn't pick up Box.
I don't know if Box is able to react to it. Now we've got Kit and Bob Ghost here, just trying to take out Amanda, but the brush comes in from behind now. And Kit's basically left on zone. They can get the cap, but that's only going to really add to the penalty, and I don't think they can really keep anything out of it. Lobster here is just trying to keep it under control, but does go down to, I believe, Laloon. Ryder's jump does get camped by Box, and Amanda goes down to Bob Ghost. But Bob Ghost is the only one up now, with 30 seconds left, against 2 people that have armor up. It's looking very, very unlikely now that Surfin Turf is able to bring this back. Splashdown comes down from Captain Easy. Brush comes down again and gets a double once again. Now only
5.
Box is left up, and Kit. Box goes down, and Kit goes
down. That will be that. We were for the wipe.
Game 9 goes to Venomous Squids. You saw that. It was Ryder just constantly was getting these doubles. You constantly had Surfin Turf kind of group up, and Ryder was exploiting that. The Sloshers weren't able to get their hits as much, and it completely punished them. 14 coming out from Ryder as well. What you saw is that Surfin Turf had the ability to try and take that control back, but a lot of the time, Bob Ghost activated their specials back from upper mid, and they were never hitting the zone with the bomb rush. Meanwhile, you compare that to Venomous Squids, where they didn't really need to use any specials to keep control down because they had 2 duelies and a shooter. They have enough painting to didn't have to worry about it. And it meant that every time that any numbers went down, you always had someone left on Venomous Squids that could just paint zone, while Surfin Turf didn't really have that luxury. I feel that's one of the major reasons that Venomous Squids was able to take Game 9 and the set. So it was a very well played very well played from both teams there. You really saw that Venomous Squids was losing. I think they lost the first three in a row.
Yeah, the first three in the
But
row.
they immediately, but afterwards, they started to really pick themselves up. Maybe they were feeling warmed up, and they started to put down the heat. And after a while, Surf and Turf wasn't able to deal with it. And I would say that was well played to them.
Mm-hmm. I mean, from the fifth game actually, and from the first game, you saw Surfin' Turf, they were able just to get control of the zone and then take it down to like at least 29 or 19, and then that was the first win from Gobi for Surfin' Turf. Fifth game was a little
Mm.
different, where Venomous Squids was just catch up, and then the last game here was just the repeat of that, pretty much. Surfin' Turf were up, and they had the advantage by a long mile, but Venomous Squids just kept fighting on here, picking them off one by one as well, and just even though the bomb rush from Surf and Turf was just pressuring them out, they would just move away and like, all right, then well, now we can come back in and let's have another duel. And then they just came out on top of that as well.
Mm.
Really heated matches, so definitely it's going to be a good one to rewatch.
And speaking of anyone who was rewatching this live, thank you all for tuning in. I've been Goizord. Your host has been.
Shidow, nice to have you all here to join us for this one, and see you again next time.
See you, everyone.